Hey guys, welcome to the Asian Hustle Network podcast. My name is Brian.
And my name is Maggie.
And we interview Asian entrepreneurs around the world to amplify their voices and empower Asians to pursue their dreams and goals.
We believe that each person has a message and a unique story from their entrepreneurial journey that they can share with all of us. Hi everyone, welcome to the Asian Hustle Network podcast. My name is Maggie.
My name is Brian.
And today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Janny Lau, and she is the president of Golden Catalysts and commissioner of White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Janny Lau held multiple strategic and senior level positions in human resources for 12 years with Fortune 500 companies, AT&T Wireless and T-Mobile USA. With a passion to take the entrepreneurial plunge, Janny started SATAY Thai Bistro Bar in 2005 with her family. In the course of organizing special events at SATAY, Janny launched Golden Catalyst, a public relations, event planning, and marketing firm specializing in multicultural segments. Established in 2008, Golden Catalyst continues to organize business summits, conventions, and political events nationwide. Her signature event, CNY in Desert, celebrated its 9th year and is a citywide celebration. Forbes Magazine has named it one of the top 8 places in the United States to celebrate Chinese New Year.
Wow.
Janny, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. You want to start by telling us what is your upbringing like in America or Asia? We want to learn more
Absolutely, yeah. I was born in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and family migrated over here to United States when I was 8 years old. In the 80s. I know I'm going to date myself here, but it's basically just like any story and every story of the Asian family, right? We leave a country and to come to America to pursue the American dream. And I am so fortunate that we have very hardworking parents. I know, Brian, you know about that. Your parents, entrepreneurs and all of that. So my parents basically very business oriented as well, and took that leap of faith, brought 4 kids over in the 80s to United States of beautiful America, and here we are. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience? I know that, you took 4 kids over. Were you scared at all? What was going through your mind?
Oh, yeah. Well, I come from Malaysia where we actually don't, English is not a primary language over there. So you have Malay, which is the government, is a dominant language. And we're Chinese, so we're Fujian, so we're Hokkien. So we speak the dialect at home. And then when you go to school, you got to learn the Mandarin as a language in school. And then, of course, when you're hanging out with your friends, you're speaking Cantonese. So you we're brought up knowing all these kind of languages. So that's why, it's fun to go back and watch, movies that includes Singaporean, Malaysian, because we speak all these kind of different languages. But coming to the United States was definitely scary at the age of 8, especially not knowing English. So parents, though, the school system is great here in the United States. They provide ESL, right, English as second language. And I took that diligently, practice all we can, and basically just kind of learning from scratch. But what's really fun about it is that everybody was really open and sharing and caring. In fact, when we came to the United States, we landed in Little Rock, Arkansas in the 80s. Okay. Imagine, I'm the only Asian kid in this white community, Caucasian family, right? Schools, excuse me. And people just looked at me and they go, oh my gosh, black hair. So students would come up to me and start touching my hair, going, what's going on? And of course, with me, it's just like, wow, everything in here is new, clean, and different. So, but that was many years ago, many moons ago. But, it's been fun. It's been a journey. Brian and Maggie, thank you for having me here. I feel like I'm so old, right? Gotta share my life stories with you. But anything I can help with, the next generation, I'm here, happy to help out. Because you know what? We were blessed. I want to say that we were blessed to be given an opportunity here to come to the United States, and nothing for us except to pay for it.
Yeah, definitely love that mentality too, how you have that mentality to, recognize there's a lot of opportunity here. And, hearing your story too, and knowing where you came from and seeing how much you're so involved with the community and the government, it's really inspirational. So we want to take a step back and hear more about your transition from your professional career to your entrepreneurial career. What was that process like, and what was going through your mindset at the time when you made that transition over?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking that. I think especially in the AAPI world, right, our parents were taught to go to school, high school graduate, go to college, after college possibly get master's, or be a doctor, be a very professional career, right? Mm-hmm. But you gotta understand, for my family background, my parents were both teachers before. That's how they met, and then they were both have the entrepreneurial blood in them as well too. They own bookstores, so we own books for Asia in Malaysia, and we actually very academic. My dad was really into reading and making sure that we're all educated. Mm-hmm. So for us, the transition for me is, after graduation, I knew I had to get the internship, get the job, and I was fortunate enough in Seattle, Washington, went to UW to get a internship with a .com company, right, in the 90s. And you just learn, I was great at, I'll tell you, I was great at filing. I played a mental game where every time when I file, it was really boring. I play a game. How can I make it faster, more efficient, right? Just to get the day by. Mm-hmm. So being in the .com environment, it was really neat. Again, I feel that I'm in a position where I'm just blessed. It's nothing that I did. It was just fortunate. It was brought up, and I just went in for an interview, and it was in the human resources department. Mm-hmm. So that's where my HR kind of background started as an intern. Mm-hmm. So with that, and now, Brian, you're asking, how did I jump from that to a entrepreneurship? Mm-hmm. I will share with you, I cannot remember a time where I did not have more than one job. Mm-hmm. As a student, I always have two jobs in the sense that internship, as well as, on the weekends, we would, my mom, we would, follow my mom, we would go pick berries just for the extra $1 because, we're Asian, right? Mm-hmm. Anything for $1. So I can't imagine, my mom, even though she worked in the school, in the cafeteria, we would cater during the weekends. Mm-hmm. So every day, every single day is always something else for businesses wise. And 12 years in the corporate America world, mm-hmm. We're fortunate again, lucky enough to make that leap into starting a restaurant because we love to eat. Mm-hmm. We love to eat and drink and party. And the family basically decided to migrate from Washington State to Las Vegas, Nevada, to open up a restaurant. 2005. So it'll be 15 years now. Wow. So that jump obviously takes a while, takes a lot of guts, mm-hmm. but I'll tell you, even with the transition of opening up a restaurant here, I also took on a part-time job mm-hmm. At a temporary consulting job, just to make sure that we have a paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really amazing too. And I just want to take a step back and hear more about what was the mindset like, just moving, how did mm-hmm. moving to Las Vegas even happen?
Mm-hmm. By chance is a fluke. We just did a family vacation 2004 where we all went to Vegas because it's a place to be. And that time it was very targeted towards family. And so that's what we did. And when we got here, I kid you not, there was no Chinatown. Spring Mountain Road, wow. It was just desert.
Not existent?
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's not like today, right? Yeah. So my younger brother, who's always the brain in the family, mm-hmm. so he was in real estate then, and he's like, we should migrate the whole family. Janny, I know you're kind of tired of corporate America. I'm tired of corporate America. Let's just do this thing. And at that time, my mom was like, yeah. It was my mom's bucket list to open a restaurant because she's a very, very awesome cook. Mm-hmm. So we did it. It's a plunge. Now, I don't know, you two, have you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yes.
Yes.
Guilty. That's the book that kind of responsible for our leap of faith, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
That's amazing. So, I mean, I'm very curious to know, like, I know that a lot of people in your family are great cooks, like you mentioned, but did anyone have any experience building and opening a restaurant? Because
That's tough work.
Yeah, a lot of people in Asian Hustle Network, for example, they want to get into the food and beverage industry, but they always hear like it's a very hard industry to get into, and the profit margin is always very slim with restaurants, right? So very curious to know, like, if your family had any experience with restaurants.
We catered prior to. For me, I own a catering company, but it was just a gig. It was one of my best friend in college together. We just kind of like, you know what, on weekends, why don't we just go ahead and just cook for folks? And that's what we did when we were in Washington State. We actually were just through word of mouth. We got a lot of the Microsoft folks, right? They had plenty of money to spend. And then by back then, there's really not a lot of Asian caterers. So we kind of found a niche. So my girlfriend and I just kind of did that. But as far as opening a full-blown restaurant, negative. We were crazy. That's what we were.
I really like that approach too, because you had a side hustle essentially.
Yes, we were all, Brian, I think I've been hustling since I was 5 years old.
I like that a lot too, because what you did was that you started small, but you thought big, and most people, especially nowadays, have this preconceived notion where, success happens overnight. And we know for a fact that never usually happens that way. Very, really rare chance that it does. And it's great to hear that you started so small that it eventually evolved into a 15-year restaurant. That's amazing.
It is. And even with COVID, it's a struggle right now, but we're hanging in there because we really want to make it to the 16th year. But I'll share with you with this, Maggie, very good question about what people in the restaurant business, a lot of people don't think about it, but having a business plan, you need to have a business plan, because business plan kind of sets your mind down. Yes, you can write about your ambition, but yet it will tell you got to do the numbers, because at the end of the day, you got to crunch the numbers and you're going to say, gosh, how many seats do I need and how many turns do I need to do before I even make a profit? And you're right. The profit margin was very, very slim, still is today, right? Because the cost of goods keeps going up every day, but it's not like we can change our printed menu every day, right, to keep up with the costs. So I just encourage a lot of folks. In fact, it's funny that we know so many, when we go and buy stuff, right, especially the Restaurant Depot place, that folks know us, that if they see people coming in with the ambition of opening up a restaurant, they basically call me up and say, Jan, talk them out of it. And I would do my best, just talking to them. And typically, usually I can say, you know what, they'll be fine. So go ahead, sell them the products. Or you go, you know what, don't do it. So
it's amazing. Well, I mean, SATAY has, claimed so many different titles, the best of Las Vegas 2015, one of the best places in the United States, celebrate Chinese New Year. What did you put into your business plan? Like, what were the top things that you wanted as your goals for SATAY? And, how did you market the restaurant so well? I think we're just very blessed by our friends and family and our loyal customers, because without them, there's no way. I mean, we can open up and no one comes, right? And it's really scary today with the social media, because I don't know if you are Yelpers, I'm sure you are, right? Good and bad, right? Because you get a lot of folks that can ruin a restaurant reputation because they may just hate you because of political views, or they just don't like you and just had one bad experience and they can just blast it off, right? And I think I personally love Yelp, because I do go in there and Yelp myself, because get into the new places, you kind of use that. But the damage things that can do to a restaurant, I always tell people, think about it before you write things down. You're not a food critic. I know people, they think they are. But especially during right now, this pandemic, it is very damaging. But for us, I think it's marketing 101, right? I don't care if you have a restaurant, if you're a chiropractor, if you're a doctor. It's all about your reputation. Yeah.
It's all about how you treat people, right? So we are a very different, my brother and I don't spend our time in the back of the house. We actually have full-time chefs, and they are chefs. They are trained to do things. We don't go back there and mess with the secret sauce or anything like that, because that's what we hire them to do. What we do is basically up in the front of the house. We take care of our customers. We take care of the needs. And one thing about having a restaurant here in Las Vegas is great because everybody comes here to celebrate something. They celebrate life, wedding, all that good stuff. And we're just happy that we are a place of fun and great memories for these, right? Especially for AAPI, what do? We love to eat. We love to party. We love to drink. And we're just blessed that they trust us enough to bring their family and friends to celebrate with us.
Wow. That's so amazing to hear that too. And, transitioning over to becoming more involved with the community and the government right now, how did that all happen? How did you make the transition from a full-time employee to a restaurant owner to helping your community, to being part of the ATI initiatives in the government? How did all that happen? Did it happen by chance, or did you aim for this to happen one day?
No, it's not like I woke up and say, hey, I'm going to be a political activist. That's what I want to do. I think politics chose us versus we chose, politics, because as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I always get this. In fact, there's so many rules and regulations and the policies, right? Well, guess who makes those policies and rules and regulations, right? Mm-hmm. Those are our politicians. Mm-hmm. But who puts them there? We do. We the people, right? So that's why we got involved. In fact, to be very honest, I just got involved in 2015, very politically, right? It's because as a business owner, there's so many things that are happening to us that impacts a business and impacted 18 of my employees that, what, I always say, if I'm not going to get involved, who's going to get involved? Mm-hmm. Right? So, like I said, politics chose us. That's how we got involved.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love how you're, taking action. And, I feel like we're in an interesting time right now. A lot of us want policies to be changed, and there's just a lot that's going on with our social climate, and a lot of people think that there's nothing that they can do about it. And this all goes back to voting rights. People think that their vote doesn't count, right? And I love how you just took that action into your own hands and, recognize that you had a voice, recognize that you had the ability to take action. And you did that, all in the last couple of years. And it's amazing and so inspiring, how far you've come.
Thank you. And you know what? I always say, you can't complain if you don't vote, right? You can't complain if you don't participate. So one thing for us, I think our Asian community is that we take ownership of everything that happens, right? I hate playing the victim. It's very easy. It's so easy to play the victim, right? And have that victim mentality. But that's one thing I learned from AT&T Wireless, right? When it was T-Mobile, sorry, I gotta get the right company. They actually gave me a coin for HR-wise. It's one flip around, one is V, the other is O. You either want to be an owner or you be a victim. Which one do you choose? Because at the end of the day, if you don't choose, you're just going to be a victim. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm very curious, when you were at T-Mobile and when you were at AT&T Wireless, did you know that you were going to go in this entrepreneurial route? Or, did you know? I know there was that time when you made that jump, but, what was going on through your mind when you were working those 9-to-5 jobs? And did you ever feel like, oh, maybe this is, what I'm meant for? Or did you feel like I'm meant for
very, very good question, Maggie. I'll tell you, I love those companies, the .coms and that time wireless. Oh my God, I didn't have to pay a phone bill and I get upgrades for free and testing out. It was pretty fun to be the in crowd, just testing things out. And I'll tell you, they pay you well up there, right? It kind of occurred to me when, first of all, when AT&T went away, as an HR person, I basically have to lay off everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody that we hire, we kind of shut down the company. We're the last one to leave. occurred to me that, although corporate experience is great, the benefits is great, the money's great, everything's great. But one thing I felt is that I felt that I lost that passion for life, right? And I dreaded going to work, because when I went to work, it was always about the companies, about the policies in which I have to execute, right? Even though I disagree, that was my job. I did not get to decide who gets retained, what to do, but I'm basically given an order and to say, Janny, this is what you need to do today. You're going to lay off about 500 employees, and then you're going to talk about their benefits and explain to the family, and then you're going to tell them it's nothing personal. It's only a job, right? So that's when I felt that, I've become a robot, where when of course this is personal when you lay somebody off, right? Because you're impacting their livelihood, So when it became a point where when they cry, I kind of stopped crying. I kind of shoved the Kleenex to them and said, here you go. All right, next, right? Mm-hmm. That's when I felt that, something is definitely lacking. And when this opportunity came out with my brother, it was a vacation, that we kind of family vacation. And again, as an Asian family, whenever we get together, we eat and we drink, and we're like, you know what? I'm tired of this. And then somebody else says, yeah, I'm tired of this. And this is how we make the jump. Mm-hmm. So it's a crazy, crazy leap, though, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. But it's very rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of relate to that. Yeah. About my last jump too. Man, I felt like, the tech world we're not well represented in any way. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of the leaders out there, especially in Silicon Valley, are non-Asian. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem too, because we do make up a large workforce demographic here. And that sort of provided me with more motivation to do more for the Asian community, thus starting Asian Hustle Network. I was wondering too, how did your involvement with the Asian community happen? How did you become the commissioner of basically? I want to learn how that transition happened for you.
Good question. My husband he's the one who's more politically involved. He ran for city council and treasurer of the state. So when he was doing that for me, helping him through the process, because I'm an operations gal, all right? So I kind of get to do it, get the things done. It kind of impacted what I saw is that, if I can't raise my hand, we both of us are very active community. But it was an opportunity where I felt that as a woman, typically in AAPI, we don't put ourselves forward, right? We're always in the background. But my husband actually was the one who encouraged me and said, you know what, you need to let the administration know that you are interested in doing this. And I don't regret it, because it's been such a rewarding experience. Mm-hmm. And Brian, I want you to know that one of our mission too is that my goal is to make sure that we have succession planning. We identify the next leaders, and especially in the government entities, and political aspects. I would love to see more AAPI candidates and AAPI faces, right, on the ballot anywhere, just doing great things, because we are trained, I think, brought up to not really lead, because my parents actually has always said, don't do that. You're going to bring shame to the family, right? The face, we got to respect that. And by all means, we need to respect our elders. I believe that truly 100%, right? But I think there's a fine balance too, is that we need to speak up. When things are happening or not happening, we need to raise our hand and say, what can I do, right? And I'll tell you, we're putting ourselves out there, right? Whether or not people will say that they're for our president, Trump, or not, I always share this with you. Being a White House initiative, as a commissioner, I have the pleasure of meeting all the AAPIs, regardless of their political affiliation, to really bring attention and the issues to the president. And he does care. I know there's a lot of, heated stories out there right now, especially with election coming up in less than 37 days, right? But I'll tell you, we live in a beautiful country where today that you still allow us the freedom to do whatever we want and achieve that American dream.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that statement too. I think the opportunities are always out there, but at the same time, like, we have to be more vocal. We have to be more visible. You know, we are quote unquote the model minority out there that, you know, we generally don't speak up, and we don't like getting into politics too. But that's not the case anymore. Like, we live in a different generation now. You know, like, we can understand from our parents' generation why they wouldn't want us to speak up, because why? We're new to the country. Like, we don't want to stand out so much because racism at that time was, you know, really relevant. And people see it all the time. They're scared for their own safety. For our generation, like, we understand the culture really well. We are as American as you can get. Like, we identify more as American than our Asian our Asian side. You know, so therefore, like, it's we need to speak up. Like, and on top of that, there's a separate challenge that we all face too. It's unlearning. Like, we're unlearning a lot of things that our parents taught us about how the world works. So that was the first challenge. But the next thing is, like, now that we finished unlearning, like, it's now for us to make a difference. You know, and speak up. Like, everybody has a voice, and people always underestimate how loud their voice can be. You know, because even with the Asian culture, you know, like, we always kind of underestimate that, you know, we shouldn't really stand out or speak up or anything, but that's not the case. Like, we are really strong as a community, you know, and we need to continue staying together as a community. In community, it's very unique to the Asian culture as well. Like we love to be there for each other. Like, you know, we will be there to protect each other always, and we need to start utilizing our communities to actually, you know, make a difference.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you, Jenny. I mean, I feel the same way with my parents. My parents, you know, they've always told me to keep my head down, to not, you know, say anything, to not create any chaos. And I think that resonates with a lot of children of immigrant parents, right? And, you know, Brian and I talk about this all the time. You know, they came from times of war where they, you know, dropped everything from where they lived to provide us with a better future. And oftentimes, you know, like, I was working in government too, in city and local government, and they, you know, really loved that I was working there because they knew that I had a stable job. You know, it would be very rare for them to, like, let me go, you know, like, they loved that I was in government, you know. And so I think it's really important for us to also recognize, though, that we are in a different generation, and we have the ability to use our voices. And we're also seeing that, like, due to what's been happening in our world right now, I feel like a lot of Asians and people of AAPI community are starting to recognize that they do have a voice and have the ability to speak up. And we've been seeing and connecting with more and more activists who are in the AAPI community. And it's just so refreshing to see, you know, because we are recognizing that we can make a difference. And yeah, I would love to know, like, you know, what has been your biggest reward of being on the White House initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders?
Meeting you guys too, right? I think it just opened doors up to all our AAPI community. Seriously, I was just on the phone today with a Hmong leader in California, you know, and Louisville's too. So there's a lot of things I think it opened up doors that I want everyone to know that we are a resource, right? And it's that's not us as commissioners for under President Trump. I think even before Obama also has his AAPI commissioners. But I just think that, you know, if we know that we're out here, we're all here for everyone, just to stay positive. I know the media likes to paint like, you know, oh my God, all hell's breaking loose. It can feel like that if that's what you're just gonna, you know, want to watch. I think the best thing right now for everybody is turn off social media. Although I love the Asian Hustle Network, don't get me wrong.
Turn off social media.
No, I mean, just take a break, right? When you find yourself so angry and pissed off, you know, walk away for a while, enjoy nature, and then, yes, come back, right? Because I'll tell you one thing about your network, though, you guys have positive folks on there. And that's what we need. We need positive things, stories, because you know what? It's tough getting up, but we should be celebrating every day. When you wake up, that's a win, right? When you enjoy food and a drink, that's a win. I always, sometimes when I get in a fight with my husband, we would stop and I look at him, I'm like, you're cranky. Are you hungry? And then we'll laugh and we'll sit down, make a meal. And then we're like, what was that fight was? I mean, it was so stupid. It just turns out that one of us were hungry. You know what I mean? So seriously, I always feel that, and this is one thing about Asian culture, we love food, right? And then things happen when you sit down, have a meal. I mean, look at all the business plans. You invite people to have a cup of coffee, or snack or drink. Because why? When your stomach's full, your brain is functioning better, right? And then you're actually sharing an experience and you can talk about issues. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And for our listeners too that don't know what Asian Hustle Network is, we are a Facebook group of currently 65,000 members.
Woohoo!
That's why I made a joke earlier why you guys are staying social media, because we are mainly on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and all those social media platforms.
Yes, and I love it. And I love just going through your page when things are, the world's fighting and everyone's fighting. I do love to get on the Asian Hustle Network to look at all the wonderful things that you two have created as for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And it's a great segue too to talk a little bit more about your goals for the AAPI community. I mean, especially now that we're trending towards the end of the year, I want to hear about what kind of goals you have for the community in 2021.
I hope that, especially the political, elections coming up, like I said, 37 days, I like to use the word, we can agree to disagree. And disagree without being disagreeable, right? And that's the greatest thing, that if we can just talk about that, because I know the elections causes a lot of emotions because it impact policies. Elections have consequences. We all know that. And for some folks, especially for the API world, we are business owners. This is our livelihood. I cannot tell you enough how many restaurateurs shut down permanently and will not open again because of this pandemic. But we're here, and my goal, Brian, and I offer this to you and your parents, my goal is if I can just help one family, one person, just anyone, just continue to appreciate life and live, because I think we're too young to retire, right? But things happen to us. That means there's great things that's going to open the doors. And if I can be that person to help the next person to see that there's a light, after the tunnel, I'm happy to do it. So, and I do feel that with you too, Maggie, it's great to meet you today, but I feel that there's a reason why we're meant to meet, right? And maybe it won't be until next year or maybe 3 years down the road, you call me up, hey, I'm thinking about doing this in Vegas. I'm here. And I want everybody on your network as well too, that if we can just help each other any way we can today, I think that's the best thing that can happen for 2020.
2021.
Oh, 2021. Yes. Well, I just want 2020 to be over, and then 2021 we can do it.
Yeah, I really like that mindset too, because that's what we're all about in an Asian Hustle Network, is uplifting each other and supporting each other.
Yes.
Because we need each other more than ever.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And so, what are your future goals for Golden Catalyst, SATAY Thai Bistro and Bar, and your place in government in like the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh man, I'm living today. I always say, nobody knew that this pandemic's going to happen in 2020, right? So as far as we can undo is, for me, is ideally is enjoy life. Enjoy every minute of it. And I know I kid about the title of our song, not song, but this podcast. To me, I say, eat, drink, live, and love. Because those are the 4 things I truly believe that we should all be doing and enjoy, because you can have the goal out there. I think it's great, but if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's okay not to be okay sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So we can only plan as far as we can, but I always say surround the people, the folks that you have that enjoy eating as much as you do, living as much as you do. And that's I think, I want the listener to walk away with today.
Right.
Don't sweat the little things.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Eat, drink, live, and love. I need that on top of my headboard or something.
Yes.
Well, for our listeners, we have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs in the group. I have a total of 65,000 members, but a majority of them are aspiring entrepreneurs. And we'd love to know, what type of advice you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur in Asian Hustle Network or just in general.
Absolutely. I think I kind of mentioned earlier, have a business plan. You really need to have one. And in fact, I was just talking to one of my girlfriends just a week ago. She wants to open a restaurant and I'm there to cheer her on. But I said, girl, where's your business plan? She's like, well, do I really need that? And I'll tell you the answer is yes, you do. Because you need to focus and you just need to focus on what you're going to do, right? And then I always say, and have plan B, right? Whatever that means. But do it. I think you do need to do your research. Right now, today, there's no excuse, right? Information's out there, right? And I know owning a restaurant is the toughest thing to do. I normally like to talk people out of doing, but if I see their business plan and they have it there, I'm like, then do it. If that's your dream, and don't wait for another day. Just do it.
Yeah, that's really great advice. I think that a lot of people get tripped up because they think that a business plan is so old school, but you do need some sort of direction and you do need focus into your business. And I think that's the best advice you can give someone.
Absolutely.
Well, it was amazing hearing your story today, Jenny, and thank you so much for sharing with all of our listeners. How can they get in contact with you and learn more about you?
Via email is fine, Janie, Janie, at goldencatalyst.com. And I don't mind giving my cell phone either. It's 702-327-2628. I'm here as a resource. I always say, you know what? If you want me to look at your business plan, I will. But please do your homework before you send it to me, though, okay? So, but yeah, like I said, I'm here as a resource, whatever you want. One thing I do want to remind everybody about as a commissioner, our job basically is a function. I want to say we're a liaison. A lot of people don't know that there are a lot of grant opportunities out there, especially with SBA and BDA. All those are, and the SBDC, right? We Asians are so used to saying, oh my gosh, I got to use all my 401k, my personal funding to do things. But guess what? Take a loan. If your business plan is that great, there's SBA will do, fund those loans and help as a resource. Take advantage of all these programs, and I'm happy to walk them through it, introduce them to the different departments. But this is why I think America is great, is that, if you don't ask, the answer is no, right? So make sure you ask, call folks up and use you two as a resource, right? Because my goodness, I will definitely be calling you, Maggie and Brian, if I'm going to do something else, right? Because I think we just need to use each other to help each other.
Yeah, definitely agree with that statement. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It was incredible getting to know you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Will do.
Bye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to the show.
We would like to get to the top 10 on iTunes, so be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We release an episode every single Wednesday, so stay tuned.
Thank you guys so much.